Facing New York State, how to keep people from moving to other places. A Siena College poll from earlier this week helped explain why so many seniors are moving after they retire. 77% of seniors surveyed said this is a, quote, poor place to live. AARP says that's because living here is just not as affordable as it is in some other states. The organization advocates for people 50 and older and says New York doesn't provide enough support to seniors. The group cites high utility and prescription drug costs, as well as underfunded home care. Joining us live right now to talk about this is the state director for AARP, Beth Finkel. Beth, thanks so much for coming back on the show. We appreciate it. I wonder, what factors do you think go into these poll results when we see that 32% of respondents aged 50 to 64 said they plan to retire outside of New York State? It's a troubling figure.
It certainly is, and it's interesting because it kind of flies in the face of most of the national surveys that AARP does that ask people if they want to retire in their own homes and communities. And this is a very different response rate than we have seen when we ask people. Normally, people want to stay in their own homes and communities that they help build and that they feel so connected to. And I do feel that that is still the feeling of people. They're just looking to our policymakers to make sure that they can stay here. And there's many things that can be done. And I have to also, I have to do a shout out to the governor who, is doing a master plan on aging, which is going to be looking at many different features of how people can age in place and try to improve all of what we call the 8 domains of age friendly. So there is movement afoot.
Beth, there is one thing that we can't do here in Western New York, and that is duplicate the winters of a place like Florida or Arizona. So you've got that, right? Let's set that aside, though. We mentioned some of what AARP had told us about this poll, specifically issues like the cost of home care, nursing homes, adult living facilities. Speaking generally, what does AARP see as the biggest problems in those areas in terms of as people are looking toward retirement?
So I think that when you think about caregivers, and there's 2.2 million caregivers in New York State, they're worried about how their loved ones are going to age. So that would be back to that 50 to 64 group. They're watching their parents and their older loved ones age in New York and seeing that there's a struggle. It's hard to get paid home care workers because of the costs. Prescription drugs are high, and we're really hoping to see some more work done about transparency on RX prices, because there's no reason why Americans have to pay 3 times the rate of any other country in the world. And we also have to look at oversight in our long-term care facilities. We need more money for a long-term care ombudsman program. We've asked for $15 million in the budget. We haven't seen it yet. There's many ways that money can be saved. We're also looking at utilities and how we can have data matching with utilities so that if people are eligible to get a break on their utilities, they're automatically connected to get that break. And people would feel that immediately in their pockets if government could take care of that, which I believe they can. And it is one of the proposals in the budget. This keeps making me think of that old Clash song, Should They Stay or Should They Go? And it's kind of like, well, we hope that they're going to stay. I know I'm going to stay because New York is a great state, but many things could be done to improve it and to reassure people that it's going to be a great place to age in.
Finally, Beth, people always talk about New York being expensive in terms of taxes, right? But traditionally, when you're looking at your retirement funds, Social Security, for instance, you're not paying taxes on that. But it is just the overall climate here in New York State difficult on people in terms of making it affordable. I've only got about 30 seconds left, if you can address that.
Well, we have to remember people are feeling the whole thing about inflation right now. So, you're in a much more highly charged environment because people are so worried about that. People are working longer, and we're looking at, that 50 to 64-year-old, they plan to work longer for the most part, which is very interesting. It's a very big change. So how can we make it better for older workers so that they feel like they can take advantage of whatever there is out there? I'll give you a good example. Earned income tax credit. Right now it stops at age 64. So if you're a lower income person who wants to continue working at 65, you're not going to get the same benefit you got when you woke up in the morning yesterday when you were 64. It's a little bit ageist, I think. So we need to take the cap off the earned income tax credit so that people can keep more of their money at home with them.
Beth Finkel is the New York State Director for AARP. Great to get your perspective on this. We saw those numbers and thought this is something worth talking about, so thank you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Michael.